So, in our previous classes, we have already discussed all the concepts of function. So, today we are going to discuss the problems related to function. So, every problem that we are going to discuss next is unique, has a unique approach. So, it is my request to you is that please first solve the question and then only look at the solution. Don't be in a hurry to know the solution, because if you solve the question, then only you can really understand the concept and you can really master the chapter. Okay, so solving 10 problems is better than looking at the solution of 100 problems. Okay, so please try to solve these questions. So the first problem, it is the question number 1, is you have to find the domain and range of this function. Okay, the function is 4x square plus 1. Okay, so you may pause the video and solve this question, the domain and range. Here I am writing. Sorry. Domain. Okay, so please pause the video and solve. Okay, so the answer is, so what is domain? Already we have discussed that whatever inputs that we can give to this function is known as the domain. Okay, whatever we can put inside this function. So you can see that we can put anything in the place of x. Like we can put 3, we can put 3.2, we can put 1, we can put -1, anything, any number you can think of, we can put, because there is no problem. There is no problem arising here when we put any number. Okay, so the domain will be, I have already told you that what is the problem. If it is a root, then you cannot put negative numbers into it. If it is in the denominator of a fraction, then you cannot the denominator cannot be 0, so you cannot put 0, like that. Many things we have already discussed. So the domain is, it is written as R, that is all real numbers, means every number that you can think of. Okay, we are only dealing with real numbers, we are not going to the iota and all that complex numbers, we are only dealing with real numbers. So what will be the range? So think about the definition of range. That range is whatever that can come out of the function, that I have discussed, that it is the juice that is coming out of a juicer or something. So whatever output that we can get. So for solving this question, think about what is the minimum value of this whole function. This whole function, what is its minimum value? See, what is the minimum value of x square? For finding the minimum value of 4x square plus 1, first we have to find the minimum value of x square. So what is the minimum value of x square? You can easily find out that minimum value of x square is 0, because x square cannot be negative. Like you cannot say x square equal to -1 or -2, like that. So the minimum value of x square will be 0. So if this has the minimum value of 0, this x square has the minimum value of 0, then 4x square also has the minimum value of 0. And 4x square plus 1 has the minimum value 1. Okay. So this whole function cannot be less than 1. You can also check by putting 1.2, 1. You can just see that if I am right or wrong. Okay. So put 0, put 1, put 3. You can see that this whole function will never go below 1. The value of this function will never go below 1. It can be 1 at x square equal to 0. So the range is 1 to infinity. Okay, 1, this is closed, that means that 1 is also included, to infinity. Okay, so now we have solved this question. So let's move to the next question. Here also you have to find the domain and range, and it is a different function. is equal to 1 by 3 plus square root of x plus 1. Okay, you have to find the domain and range similar to this question. So please pause the video and solve this question. Okay, so the answer to this question is, first we will find the domain. So for the domain, the part in the square root should be greater than 0. Okay, so x plus 1 should be greater than or equal to 0. It can be also equal to 0 because there is 3. So if this whole function, this whole function becomes 0, then also the denominator will not become 0. It will become 3. Okay, so this can be 0. So x plus 1 greater than equal to 0 and x is greater than minus 1. Okay, greater than equal to minus 1. So the domain is minus 1 to infinity. Okay, minus 1 close to infinity. Now for the range. Okay, so the square root of x plus 1, what outputs can it give? Okay, if I say square root of 4, square root of 9, so we will not take the negative values. Okay, like if I say square root of 4, you will say it is answer is 2, not minus 2. Okay, we don't take the negative values in square root, because square root is also a function. If we will say that square root of 4 is plus minus 2, then it will give two values. So this violates the definition of function, that for every input you will get only one unique output. So then the concept of modulus function arises, because square root of 4 is actually mod of 2, and it is like that. We will discuss it later, but for now you have to remember that the square root will give only positive values. We take only positive values for square root. Okay, and the reason I have already explained here in this discussion, because square root is a function. So square root of x plus 2, so this we will take only the positive values. So what will be the minimum value of square root of x plus 1? X plus square root of x plus 1. What will be the minimum value? Okay, it will be 0, because we are not taking negative values, we are not taking minus 2, minus 1, so it will be 0. So the minimum value of this whole function, is 0. And what is the maximum value of square root of x plus 1? Okay, the maximum value can be infinity. Okay, we can just go on, make x as big as possible and then find its square root. So it will be infinity. So the maximum value of this function, the output, is infinity. So minimum is 0, maximum is infinity. So this is the range of square root of x plus 1. So for the function p of x, what we are doing? We are doing 1 by 3 plus square root of x plus 1. So what is the minimum value of square root of x plus 1? It is 0. So for p of x, what we will do? We will add 3 to 0. So it will be 3. So this function will be 1 by 3 plus 0, that is 3, to 3 plus infinity, that is infinity. Okay, so this is included. So what we are doing, so how I am solving this question is that I am finding the range of a small part of the function, then I am adding 3 to that range of the small part, then I am dividing it by 1, because this is what the function is about. Okay, so that I am doing. So it will be 1 by 3, 3 3 to close to infinity. So it will be 1 by 3, sorry, it will be 1 by 3, and 1 by infinity is 0. So it is closed, and it is not how it is written. It is written as range is 0 to 1 by 3. Okay, so this is the range of this whole function. So let us now move to the next question. Okay, so this is question number 3. So I have already told you about composition of function. So here is a question related to that. Let f of x equal to 4x by x plus 2 and g of x equal to 2x by x plus 4. Okay, so find f of g of x. Okay, so you may pause the video and solve this question. It's a very easy question. Okay, so the answer is, see, I have already told you that in composition of function we are putting one machine inside another, means like we are taking the output of one machine and we are putting it inside another machine and getting the final output. Okay, this I have already told. Means if I use the fruit juice in another machine to make something else, then that is known as the composition of function. Okay, this is the definition of composition of function. So what we are doing, we are putting the output of g of x inside f of x. Okay, so what is g of x? It is 2x by x plus 4. So first we are getting 2x by x plus 4 out of g of x. What we will do, we will put that 2x plus x by x plus 4 inside f of x. So what will be our value? It will be 4 into, don't think it is x, think that it is 2x by x plus 4. So we will replace x by 2x by x plus 4. Okay, because this is the output we are getting and we are again putting the output inside the function f of x. So it will be 2x by x plus 4 into 2x by x plus 4 by 2x by x plus 4 plus 2. So it will be 8x by x plus 4 by 2x plus 2x plus 8 by x plus 4. So this 2 cancel, is equal to 8x by 4x plus 8, which will be equal to 4x by x plus 2. Sorry, 2x by x plus 2. 2x by x plus 2. Okay, so this is our answer, 2x by x plus 2. So let's move to the next question. Okay, so this is question number 4. So if f of x equal to ax square plus bx plus c, g of x equal to ax square minus b of x plus c. If we have given this condition that f of 1 equal to g of 1 plus 2 and f of 2 is equal to 2. So find g of 2. It's a very interesting question but very easy. So you may pause the video and solve this question. Okay, so the answer is, first we are given the condition that f of 1 equal to g of 1 plus 2. So first we are going to use that condition. So what is f of 1? It is, if we will replace x by 1. So it will be a plus b plus c. A plus 1 square plus b into 1 plus c. So it will be a plus b plus c. So f of 1 equal to a plus b plus c. So what we are using the condition f of 1 equal to g of 1 plus 2. So a plus b plus c equal to, what is g of 1? Again we will replace x by 1 in g of x, that is a into 1 square minus b into 1 plus c. So it will be a minus b plus c. So we are given it is plus 2. This is the condition. Okay, I am applying this condition I am applying. Okay, so a plus b plus c equal to a minus b plus c plus 2. So now I will cancel out a and c. So 2b equal to 2. So b equal to 1. Okay, so we already got one thing, that is the value of b is 1. So now we have to find g of 2. For that we are given that f of 2 equal to 2. So first we will put f of 2. We will find the value of f of 2. So it is f of 2 equal to a into 2 square plus b into 2 plus c, which is equal to 4a plus 2b plus c. Okay, this is the value of f of 2. We have to find the value of g of 2. So let us see what is g of 2. So it is a into 2 square minus b into 2 plus c, which is equal to 4a minus 2b plus c. Okay, so we are given that f of 2 equal to 2. So we know that b equal to 1. So here we will put b equal to 1. So then we will get 4a plus c equal to 0. Okay, if we put b1 it will be 2 and 2 to cancel. So 4a plus c equal to 0. So we have now got the value of 4a plus c. So we will use that in g of 2. So this 4a plus c is 0 and b is 1. So this whole value will be equal to minus 2. Okay. So g of 2 is minus 2. Very easy. So let's go to the next question. Okay. So this is question number 5. If f of x comma y comma z is equal to x minus z by y minus z. What is the meaning of this? That the notation f of x y z is equal to x minus z by y minus z. Okay, this is the short, means f of x y z is the short way of writing x minus z by y minus z in this question. Don't assume that it is in every question, in this question. Okay, so now f of, we are given that f of a b comma c, a comma b comma c equal to 1. So find the value of f of a c b. Okay, so you may pause the video and solve this question. Okay, so the answer to this question is, so first we are going to use our first condition, that is f of a comma b comma c equal to 1. Okay, so we will do a minus b. So f of a b c equal to a minus c division b minus c. So we are given that this is equal to 1. So by cross multiplying we will get that a minus c equal to b minus c, which implies that a equal to b. Okay, so we have got one condition, that is a equal to b. Now we have to find f of a c b. Okay, f of a c b. So what will be the value of f of a c b? It will be a minus b, that is first minus last, by c minus b, that is second minus last. Okay, so this will be value. So we already know that a equal to b, so a minus b will be equal to 0. So this value will be equal to 0. So we got the answer, f of a c b equal to 0. Okay, simple. So let's move to our next question. Okay, so this is question number 6. We are given that domain of f of x equal to -1, comma 1 open interval. Okay, so this is the domain of f of x that we are already given. So find the domain of f of x plus 1. Okay, we have to find the domain of this given function. So you may pause the video and solve this question. Okay, so the answer to this question is, see, we are given already the domain of f of x. So that means that whatever we put inside f, that is the function, that f, whatever we put inside f should be a number between -1 and 1. Okay, this is the meaning of the first line, the domain of f of x. That means we can put a number inside x that is between -1 to 1. Okay, so now we are given f of x plus 1. Okay, so whatever may be the value of the variable, if I do f of x plus 1, x plus 2, or x plus 3, x plus 100, whatever I do, I know that whatever this variable may be, I don't know what is this variable, it should be this whole value x plus 1, means whatever we are putting inside the function, it should be a number between -1 and 1. Okay, it cannot be 2 or greater than 1 something or less than -1 something. Okay, so whatever the variable is, it should be between -1 and 1. So from here we got, from this discussion we got a condition that x plus 1 should be less than 1 and it should be greater than -1. Okay, this is the condition I got. So x must be less than 0 and it should be greater than -2. Hope you could understand what I am telling and don't be confused by this variable x plus 1, x plus 2, x plus 100. It is all very simple. It is just the input. Okay. There is no difference between x plus 1 and x. It is all a variable. It is both are variables that we are putting inside f. Okay. So it's very simple. So x should be equal to -2 to 0. So the domain of this function is -2 to 0 open interval. Okay. So let's move to our next question. Okay, so this is question number 7. So it is given that let f of x square plus 1 is equal to x to the power 4 plus 5x square plus 3. Okay, what is f of x square minus 1? Okay, so you may pause the video and solve this question. Okay, so the answer to this question is, see, we are given f of x square plus 1 and we have to find f of x square minus 1. So first let us find that what is actually f of x, means what is f of, it will be confusing for you if I take f of x. Say f of y. What is f of y? Okay, means what happens when I put it variable is something y into f. Okay, so we will replace x plus 1 by y is equal to y. Let x plus 1 equal to y. So this whole thing, this thing becomes f of y. So now it is f of y. So if x square plus 1 is y, then x square is y minus 1. So we will replace here x square everywhere, x square by y minus 1. So what will be, if x square equal to y minus 1, what will be x to the power 4? It will be y minus 1 square. Simple. It is. Now 5x square will be, x square is y minus 1, it will be 5 into y minus 1, and 3 will be obviously 3. So f of y is y minus 1 square plus 5 into y minus 1 plus 3. Okay, now we got the value of f of y. Now we have to find value of f of x square minus 1. Okay, so let f of x square minus 1. So we know that x square equal to y minus 1. Okay, so that means we have to find the value of f of y minus 2. Okay, that is the value we have to find. So what will, if we know that f of y is this one, so what will be f of y minus 2? Just replace y with y minus 2. So it will be equal to y minus 2 minus 1, that is y minus 3 whole square, plus 5 into y minus 2 minus 1, that is y minus 3 plus 3. Simple. So y, we have already seen that it is x square plus 1. So you have to replace y with x square plus 1. Okay, everywhere. And then you have to subtract 3. Just remember that you have to find f of x square minus 1. So you cannot give this answer in terms of y. You have to replace y with x square plus 1. Okay, already we know that y, this one, already we know that y equal to x square plus 1. Okay, so this thing you have to do to write the final answer. I am leaving it here. Okay, so see how simple this question is. Okay, so in this question I am going to give the graph of three, I don't know if it is a function or not, three uh, equations or something like that. I am going to give you three graphs, and you have to tell me that which graph is the graph of a function and which is not the graph of a function. Also, if you say that this is the graph of a function, then tell me that if that function can have an inverse or not. I have already discussed the inverse of a function, and I have already told you that every function doesn't have an inverse. There are some specific functions which have inverse. Okay, so you have to tell me if the function has an inverse or not. First, you have to tell me if it is a function or not, the graph of a function or not. Then you have to tell me it is, if the graph of the function has an inverse or not. Okay, this you have to tell me from the graph. This is going to be very interesting. So the first graph, that is A, is like this. Okay, this is the first graph. The second graph B is the third graph is okay. So this is the, I've already told you the question. So please pause the video and solve this question. Okay. So let us look at the first graph. And we have to tell that if it is the graph of a function or not. So what is the definition of function? I have told you that the definition of function is that for every single input there should not be two outputs. Okay, so this part, it is not straight, actually it is curved. This part is curved. Okay, like this. This is not straight line. This is not a vertical line. It is curved. Okay. Okay, this one. This is curved. Okay. So for every single input, there should be only one output. There cannot be two outputs for an input. So what is the input of this function? This is the x coordinate of this graph. I have already told you about x and y coordinate. So this is the input, like if this is -1, this is the input, and this is the output that is coming. So it will be, if it is, this is suppose -2, then this is the output that is coming. Okay. So what, for every single input, there should be only one output. So how can we see that if it has only one output on? We will draw vertical lines, imaginary vertical lines on this function. And we will see that if that vertical line only touches the function at one point, it should not touch the function at multiple points. Why it is so? Because if I draw a vertical line, that means that is the input I am giving, that is -1 or -2. It is the input. And if it touches 2 points of the graph simultaneously, that means for that input, that is -1, we are getting two outputs. Okay. That means for that, suppose -2, if it touches another point, suppose here, if I say, here, in -2, if I draw a vertical line, if there was another point here where where this vertical line touches, that means at -2 we are getting two outputs, that is this one and this one. Okay, so that means this is not a function because we are getting two outputs. But fortunately, here, for every vertical line drawn on the graph of this thing, it touches the graph at only one point. That means this is the graph of a function. So this is the graph of a function. Okay. So if you could not solve this question, then again pause the video and solve the rest two bits. Okay. So let's move to the next bit. So here we will do a similar thing. We will draw an imaginary vertical line and see, this vertical line is touching the graph at 2 points. This is the point and this is the point simultaneously. So this is not the graph of a function. This is not a function. Again, for the third bit, we will do the same thing. We will draw vertical lines. We will see that it doesn't touch the function at 2 points. Okay, so this is the graph of a function. Now our next question was that if this function has an inverse or not. We have to tell that if this function has an inverse or not. So for that, what we will do, see, if a function has for two inputs, for two different inputs, it gives the same output. Suppose for a -2, it gives 1, the function, and for 2 also it gives 1. This can be possible because this is the function, for two inputs it can give one output, but for one input it cannot give two outputs. Okay, that is the definition. So this can be a case that -2 gives 1 and 2 also gives 1. So if I say that this function has an inverse, then what will happen? If I put 1 inside that function, it will give both -2 and 2. And this violates the basic principle of function, that what is a function. So this violates it. So if a function for any two inputs, if the function gives the same output, just listen carefully, if for any two inputs, if the function gives the same output, then that function doesn't have an inverse. Okay, for any two inputs, if the function has one output, then that function doesn't have an inverse. Okay, so for any so we have to check that if this case is arising for any two inputs, it is giving the same output. So how we will check that? We have to draw a horizontal line. Okay. If the horizontal line touches the graph at 2 points simultaneously, then that means for two different inputs we are getting the same output. Means if this is the graph and I am drawing a horizontal line, and this is means at if this is 1 and this is 5, so at 1 and also at 5 it is giving the same output, say -1. So by drawing a horizontal line I can know that if the function is giving same output for two different inputs. Okay, so I will draw horizontal line in the first case. So for every horizontal line that I am drawing, see, it is touching the graph at only one point. So this function also has an inverse. Okay, so from this second no. So second is not a function, so we don't have to think about inverse. So let's move to the third bit. So you can see that if I draw a horizontal line here, okay, here, it will touch the graph at 2 points. This is the point and this is the point. So this doesn't have an inverse. Okay, so this is our ninth question. So you have to find the domain of the function y equal to x plus 3 by 5 minus x, okay, square root. So you have to find the domain of this function. So you may pause the video and solve this question. Okay, so what will be the answer to this question? So for domain, see, this is a function which is having a square root. So the value inside the square root should always be positive. It cannot be negative. Okay. So what is the value inside the function? It is x minus 3 by 5 minus x. Okay. So this should be greater than, or you can say equal to 0. Okay. For this thing to be equal to greater than or equal to 0, think that you are dividing two things. Say 1 by 2 you are doing, or -1 by 2 you are doing. So when are you getting a positive number? If you divide a positive number by a positive number, you will get a positive number, like 1 by 2, 3 by 5, 5 by 6. You will get a positive number. If you divide a negative number with a negative number, then also you will get a positive number, like -3 by -2, -4 by -5. You are getting positive numbers. But if you divide a negative number with a positive number, or a positive number with a negative number, then you are going to get a negative number. This is a basic thing we already know. So we are going to apply this concept in this question. So this is a division. So there will be two cases. If both numerator and denominator are positive, or both numerator and denominator are negative, then this whole thing will be positive. So first case we will do case 1, when both are positive, both numerator and denominator are positive. That means x minus 3 is greater than equal to 0, 5 minus x is greater than 0. It is not equal to, because it is in the denominator. Okay, that implies x is greater than equal to 3, and also, and means it is not or, means both conditions should satisfy, x should satisfy both the condition, means both numerator and denominator must be positive. Okay, so it is 5 minus x is greater than 0 implies x is less than 5. So it is x is uh, sorry, it is x plus 3 actually, x plus 3, it's not minus. Okay, it will be minus 3. Okay, so 5 minus x will be greater than 0, so x is less than 5. So the domain is a number that is greater than -3 and less than 5. So what will be the domain? From here we have got minus 3 to 5. The question is not over. We have to see case 2. If both are negative, that means x plus 3 is less than equal to 0. 5 minus x also will be less than equal to less than 0, not equal to less than 0. So it will be x less than equal to minus 3 and x greater than 5. And so what are the conditions? X less than equal to minus 3, x greater than 5. So can you find a number that is greater than 5 but less than minus 3? No, it is not possible, because if a number is less than minus 3, it cannot be greater than 5. Okay. So this is an invalid condition. So case 2 is invalid. So we have to take only case 1. So this is our final answer. The domain is minus 3 to 5. Minus 3 closed and 5 open. Okay. So let's move to our final question. It's similar to this question. The next question is similar to the first question. Means previous question. That is only small thing we have to remember. First, let me tell you one thing. If I tell there is another function known as log function. I think I have already discussed about modulus function. So there is a log function, and it is this is the maybe the means what to say, the base, and this is the value. Whatever I am putting here, like log of 3 base suppose 10 or something. If I don't write the base also, it's okay. If log of 4 or log of 5, so you can find the log of only positive numbers and non-zero. It should not be 0, and it should not be negative. Okay. You cannot say log of minus 5 or log of minus 2. That is wrong. So you have to say only log of positive numbers. I will tell about the condition of the base later, but for the time being, you have to know that you can only find the log of positive numbers. Okay, non-zero positive numbers. Okay, this thing I have told you. So now you can easily solve the question I am going to give you. So if y equal to log base 2 x minus 2 by x plus 2, then find domain. Okay, what is the domain of this function log x minus 2 by x plus 2 base 2? Okay, so you may pause the video and solve this question. Okay, so the answer is, so similar to the first question, as we are taking the log of this whole thing, so this whole thing should be positive, greater than 0. So for the positive, both numerator and denominator will be greater than 0, or both numerator and denominator will be less than 0. Okay. So what we will do, x minus 2 is greater than 0, x plus 2 is greater than 0. This is case 1. Okay. And case 2 is both are less than 0. X minus 2 is less than 0, x plus 2 is less than 0. So it will be x is greater than 2, x is greater than minus 2. We are getting these two conditions. So if x is greater than minus 2, if x is greater than 2, then it will be obviously greater than minus 2. So we will take only the first condition. Okay, that is x is greater than 2. Similarly, x will be less than 2, x will be less than minus 2. X will be less than minus 2. If the number is less than minus 2, then it will always be less than 2. So we will take this condition only. So what we are getting? X is greater than 2 or x is less than minus 2. These are both, means it is or, means if x is greater than 2, then also this whole thing will be possible, means this log part, this x minus 2 by x plus 2 will be positive. And also if x is less than minus 2, then also this whole thing will be okay. Okay, we will be okay with this thing. Okay, that we have already discussed in the previous case. So if we are saying or, then it will be union, means we will combine these two answers. Okay, so the way we write it is minus infinity comma minus 2 open interval, because it is not equal to greater than equal to 2, so it is only equal to 2, union 2 to infinity. Okay, so this is our final answer. So with this we have completed this chapter, and we have also discussed the questions related to this chapter. So we will again we will discuss next chapter after this in maths. So till then, bye.